Mr. Jesse Kelly. And,
Jesse, we can start out with one. This president is probably doing more right now, and this is good for all of you, to destroy, as far as I can tell, the career military of this nation by the manner in which they are handling everything from retirement, everything from the retirement system to the medical system. Comments from all four of you. Starting with Jesse.
Well, while it may benefit any Republican running in the nation, it does not benefit anyone on this stage or in this crowd to watch this president tear through this nation in such a way. Our veterans' benefits have to be protected at all costs, and we'll never live in a nation where Harry Reid gets congressional retirement and our veterans get shorted on what they have earned fighting for this nation, defending this nation. What they've done for health care, it's awful. We know we need to repeal Obamacare. It is the truth. It has to be priority one. And we also need to get the government out of the rest of health care when it comes to their taxes. We pay 25% higher for our pharmaceutical drugs because of taxes. We pay alarmingly high rates for all of our vaccinations, drugs, because of the burdensome regulations placed on this economy. In this state, a doctor working under a state system costs about $2,000 a year for liability insurance. A doctor working outside of the state system costs about $20,000 a year for liability. Why is that? Because under the state, they're allowed to pool together, because there are no government regulations on what they're allowed to do. An individual doctor is not allowed to do that. A business such as Don Kelly Construction, we're not allowed to go across the street to 3 other construction companies and pool with them to buy it. Healthcare is just like paper towels at Costco. If you buy one, it's going to be much more expensive than if you buy the 800 pack that they sell. It's the same thing. Free markets. Get less government, more freedom, and then we'll be able to maintain the quality we have without government interference and increased access.
We have the most capable military in the world, and we have men and women who are standing up to fight in a time of war, standing up to serve and continue to serve over and over again. We have so many veterans, probably many in our midst tonight, who have served previous to this war, have served in World War II and Korea and Vietnam eras, when we weren't taking care of our veterans and welcoming them home with open arms. We have a contract when somebody puts on that uniform and takes an oath of office to put their life on the line, to defend our freedoms and our way of life, that we must take care of them. It is a red line. As we've got to look at how to get this debt under control and cut federal spending, it is a red line that we must take care of our veterans. We must take care of our current military and make sure they are trained and ready with the equipment and everything they need in order to fight and win America's wars and deal with the threats that are coming around the corner that we can't even see. Air power, ground power, sea power, cyber power, everything we need. We must not be sacrificing TRICARE and all the things. I mean, I use TRICARE. I'm a retiree, and so they're talking about fees going up by 350%. That is not how we save money. We save money by reeling in the federal government, stop having the federal government do the federal government should not be doing. But one thing they need to be doing is taking care of veterans. So cut the money and the waste and the fraud and the fat elsewhere. Get the federal government off the backs of small businesses. Get them out of the business of things that the states and local governments should be doing, and the private economy and the businessmen who are going to make this economy grow again. And save money that way, but not on the backs of our people and our veterans who serve our country.
We have quite a story to tell. We don't do a very good job telling, I'm afraid. Part of the package here is articulating again to our nation through an education system that is better maintained and better motivated to understand the real history of the United States. We talk about a national debt, and I do believe it's in dollars, but the bigger one, ladies and gentlemen, is in blood. I'll never forget the day I first went to the Vietnam War Memorial on the Washington Mall. I stood there for 2.5 hours by myself. I couldn't move. I made a vow to myself because I was alive at 10 years old in 1965 and 66, and I just remember the horror of watching American military coming home to derision. I want to make sure that that never happens again. And right now I see an administration attempting it in their own little way by denying people benefits that have laid down their lives and interrupted their lives and their opportunity for happiness on behalf of our nation and our freedoms. A little study of our history, ladies and gentlemen. I wish every high school kid could understand this right now. You know, the average age of the American combat death since Lexington and Concord is 19 and a half years of age. If you'll let me have the liberty, we owe them, and we owe all of the people, including my three worthy competitors here, and those of you who serve in this audience, a debt of thanks. And I will assure you that I will never let the American military be left out after they have served so magnificently and freed so many people in the history of this world.
Professor Mann, I vote for you tomorrow. Here's the way I think Emil was framing the question. You have young men and women who are in high school, many of the kids that are putting on this event, that may make a decision someday whether or not they want to enter the military and serve this country. And what young men and women do is they look to the veterans, and they look to see how those veterans are being treated before they make that leap to lay their life on the line and write that blank check to their country. And they say, well, is it worth it? Am I going to get screwed? Or am I going to get my contract changed? Or are they going to tell me one thing and then when I retire I get hurt or injured? Are they going to tell me another? It is very critical to the national security of this country that we treat our veterans well. Because if we don't treat our veterans well, the young Americans that are coming up are going to say, you know what, it ain't worth it. We made a promise. If you lay your life on the line and you come back injured, hurt, or if your family loses you, they will be taken care of. The government needs to keep that promise. And the punks, and that's what they are. Let's make no mistake. These are people that never spent a day in their life to defend this country. They've lived off of it, they sucked off it, and they've leached off it. And they're the ones that want to take it away from the veterans who laid it on the line. To me, they are despicable. And we need to get more veterans in office at every level. And we need Americans that are going to stand up to the moochers that want to cut our veterans' benefits and the benefits of those that serve so that they can live a more prosperous life in their senior years. I think they should be ashamed of themselves and feel guilty for what they're even contemplating. And they're despicable. And you need somebody that's going to go up there and look them in the eye and tell them that. And I have no heartburn with telling them how pathetic and wretched I think they are, and how despicable and how disappointed I am in them being Americans in this country to even contemplate going after the benefits of our veterans. It's horrible.
For another question and then wrap up. You okay? Hanging in there? Enjoying, learning? Everything good? Yeah. All right. Quiet up there. You guys are talking a lot, gals. So, next question.
All right, first off, indulge me for just a moment because I've come up with something. Okay. Tucson's notorious for coming up with really incredibly stupid ideas. Right? Don't get me started on the modern street car. There's nothing modern about it. It was modern to be flying. That's besides the point. Somebody, well, not somebody, several people have suggested this ridiculous notion, and I want to make my own than I, but has suggested this ridiculous notion that none of these individuals run for CD8, and we should just allow one appointed Democrat individual to go and sit in the seat, right? I know, exactly. However, I think it affords us an opportunity, though, because I know I'm impressed as you guys are with all four of these guys, and going back to, I think we'd all be happy to have any one of them sitting in that CD8 seat. So let me propose that if you guys can all agree to split the salary, okay? All right? We'll run you on as one person in 4 parts. I already have your name. Okay, I can see the signs, and I'll be the first one to step up and say, I would be the first one to support and endorse for the first time, because I don't do endorsements. Sidnor McJesse for Congress. I've been working on that a long time. I like it. All right. Okay, on the immigration. Illegal immigration has the potential to bring both sides, Democrats and Republicans, together. Unfortunately, it gets used a lot by a handful of people to demonize the right quite often. We've been through a lot in terms of trying to enforce our illegal immigration laws here. SB 1070, it put, Arizona in the spotlight in ways that most of us couldn't imagine.
How do you bridge the gap between doing what's needed to enforce the laws of the state and this nation, increase border security, but not lose the needed support of the political opposition?
John, it's supposed to take less time than they use.
I'm a little past my bedtime, and I'm kind of hoping they don't ask me to do it next time. So,
Look, I think the number one priority for this community and the nation in this area needs to be to secure the border. If you've got a leak in your house and the water's running, you're going to stop that leak first, and then you got to deal, with the mess. So we have to secure our border, and we have to address the political will that has not been coming out of Washington, D.C., because this is a federal government responsibility to keep us safe. As you guys know, we have transnational criminal organizations that are trafficking weapons, money, people, and drugs just south of us into our neighborhoods. They are present now in over 1,000 cities in America because they've had free access to get there. This is a national security threat that we must take seriously, and we need the federal will to secure the border and to address the root causes at the strategic level in order to turn this thing around. I mean, this is serious business. When it comes to that actual addressing immigration, we have the laws on the books. We just need to enforce the laws that we have when it comes to those that are not here legally. In addition, we do need to look at the painful, bureaucratic, nonsensical process that we have for legal immigration. I mean, it's too long, it's random quotas, and we need to figure out how to streamline that in order to disincentivize, on top of many other disincentives, like not getting a job and not getting services and those types of things, in order to disincentivize illegal immigration. So we got to address this holistically by getting to the root causes, securing the border, enforcing the laws we have, and streamlining the legal immigration problem. I don't know why this is so emotional. I mean, this is an American issue, and we all need to work together in order to fix this, because it's draining our economy, it's draining our community, and it's a threat to us from a national security point of view.
Frank, I've been around here so long. The reason I love George Santana, the Spaniard said, those who don't learn history are due to repeat it. I've been here 38 years. I've seen us repeat the same mistakes over and over again in this community with some of the people that we have elected. 31 years, 33 years in a communications background, ladies and gentlemen. One of the reasons I think that's important, it goes back to something that Martha was talking about a moment ago about this being an American issue. We don't frame it that way. We need somebody to stand up there and say, no, when you ask the question, the border is one issue and immigration is another issue. Why confuse these things? That's not done unintentionally. That's how the demagoguery starts. That's how you are called a racist if you happen to believe that ranchers who live along our border are not supposed to sleep with guns at their side every night. It's an understanding of our problems as someone who's been in the district so you can articulate it and make clear that we have an immigration issue and we have a border security issue. We understand the relationship between Mexico and the United States. And to the points that I made earlier, if our economy was deregulated, so there would be a supply and demand, a demand of labor, and if it so happens that we need that labor to come from Mexico, we could regulate it and have it come through the border legally, if we so need it. And, to Martha's point, we have an immigration system that allows people who do want to become part of this American fabric, who do want to learn our language, and those who immigrate to this country do want to learn our language, and learn our customs, and learn our history. That's a separate issue. So yes, I say that we can make this work with all parties if we start working together and understanding that a secure border benefits all Americans, and particularly those who live lawfully on our side of the fence. And also those Mexicans, who I never hear about from some people in the media, why in the world would you encourage people to go to the Oregon Pike National Monument in July? That's what they do. So I think we have to have a different way of discussing this issue, and we do it now.
The media, they all think they're so smart. They got this thing called the Chicago Manual of Style that they go by when they write their articles. But they keep leaving out a tiny little adjective called illegal. There's a significant difference between illegal immigration and immigration. They try to say that we are against immigration. Oh, you're against immigration. You guys aren't. No, it's baloney. My grandparents all immigrated to this country. When my grandfather came over here, he worked in the coal mines in Pennsylvania. He learned English. My grandmother worked in a dress factory so that my dad and my aunts and uncles would have a better leg up and a head start in life so they can continue to live and strive for the American dream. When I got elected to the Arizona legislature, my 91-year-old grandmother, Nona Emma Antonori, sat in the gallery and watched her grandson, 2 generations later, get sworn into the Arizona legislature. That is the American dream. That is the positive side of immigration. We are the greatest country on the planet because we take the best of every culture and make it part of our own. We are a melting pot. The left is trying to divide us. They want us to be chunky soup. They want us to have little divisions and hyphens in between. We are America. You come here because you want to live free, you want a better life, and you want to become Americans. If you think your culture is so great in your country and you want everybody here to learn your language, you should have stayed somewhere else. It's that simple. Come business. We got all these great visas. We got work visas, tourist visas, all that stuff. You come through the front door, you sign the guest book. You don't sneak in the back door and raid the refrigerator. It's that simple. The 1986 Immigration Reform Act says if you enter this country without permission of the United States, you are here illegally. It's that simple. Enforce the law, which is what we did here in Arizona when we passed SB 1070. It mirrors the 1986 Immigration Reform Act. And people are crying now because we are actually enforcing the law. Too bad.
To answer your question on how to bridge that gap, it has been bridged. The law that Duncan Hunter passed about building the double-layer border fence along our southern border, that was signed by Bill Clinton. There are some Democrats out there, I'm not here singing the praises of Bill Clinton, but there are plenty of Democrats who believe that the southern border needs to be secured. Now the problem is, we have some Democrats, a lot of them, and some Republicans who refuse to do anything about it. We need to win more elections. That's what we need. We know what works. We understand it. They built the double-layer border fence in San Diego and violent crime dropped by 50%. They built it right here in Yuma and violent crime dropped by 97%. Those that say it don't work, that it doesn't work, simply haven't looked at the statistics. Now, yes, there are plenty of people in Congress, like Raul Grijalva, who commits robbery every time he picks up his check. But the truth of the matter is, we just need to win elections. It's the solution to all of these problems. Win elections, send the right people there. It's the law right now that we have a bright, shining, double-layer border fence right below us. So 50% of the drugs that enter this nation don't come through our district. Why haven't we done it? We haven't elected people with the guts to get it done. It's time to do so.